Tom Cruise is more than just a name in Hollywood. He is an institution, a symbol of persistence, and a figure whose career tells the story of modern blockbuster cinema itself. Born Thomas Cruise Maypother, 4 on July 3, 1962, in Syracuse, New York, Cruise overcame an unsettled childhood, financial hardship, and personal struggles such as dyslexia to carve out one of the most remarkable legacies in the history of film. From his earliest days, marked by relentless moving from school and learning to adapt to ever-changing environments, he displayed the resilience and discipline that would later become cornerstones of his acting persona. What makes Cruise stand out among his peers is not simply his ability to command the screen with charisma and intensity, but his unique commitment to authenticity, the decision to perform his own stunts, the unwavering dedication to physical preparation, and the rare combination of commercial appeal with critical respect. Over more than 4 decades, he has navigated the constantly shifting tides of Hollywood, from the glossy teen roles of the 1980s to the prestige dramas of the 1990s to the era-defining action spectacles of the 2000s and beyond. Along the way, he has also become a producer, a cultural touchstone, and, at times, a controversial public figure due to his advocacy of Scientology and high-profile relationships. Yet through triumphs and controversies alike, Cruise's body of work has become a backbone of popular cinema, bridging generations of audiences who flock to theaters in search of larger-than-life stories, delivered with real sweat, real risk, and real commitment. To understand Tom Cruise is to understand the shifting identity of stardom itself, where image, performance, and myth intersect to form one of the most fascinating careers in modern entertainment. The story of Tom Cruise begins with hardship, instability, and a determination forged under pressure. Born the only son among 4 children to Mary Lee, a special education teacher, and Thomas Cruise Maypother III, an electrical engineer, Cruise's early family life was defined by frequent moves and financial struggles. His father's unstable career forced the family to relocate over a dozen times, and by the age of 14, Cruise had attended nearly 15 different schools across the United States and Canada. To make matters more difficult, Cruise suffered from undiagnosed dyslexia, which left him feeling isolated in the classroom and often struggling to keep pace academically. Yet even as he grappled with feelings of inadequacy, Cruise began to discover 2 outlets that would shape the man he would become: athletics and performance. For a time, he seriously considered pursuing a career in professional wrestling, and later even contemplated entering the priesthood after spending time in a Franciscan seminary. But a turning point came when he auditioned for his high school's production of Guys and Dolls. Playing the role of Nathan Detroit, he experienced firsthand the exhilaration of commanding an audience's attention, and in that moment, he found both purpose and identity. What began as a school play transformed into a lifelong calling. Acting offered him a way to channel his intensity, to stand out, and to rise above the insecurities of his childhood. The very qualities that made his youth difficult: adaptability, persistence, a restless drive to prove himself, became the exact tools he would later use to ascend Hollywood's ranks. His turbulent upbringing was not merely an obstacle to overcome. It was a crucible, one that forged the resilience, discipline, and relentless determination that would become the defining features of Tom Cruise, the actor, the star, and eventually the global icon. By the dawn of the 1980s, Tom Cruise was a young man with little more than determination, raw talent, and a willingness to risk everything for a dream that seemed almost impossible. At just 18 years old, he left behind the uncertainty of his family's itinerant life and moved to New York City with barely $200 in his pocket, determined to pursue acting. Like many hopefuls before him, Cruise began with rejection after rejection, but his intensity and striking screen presence caught the attention of casting directors. His first on-screen appearance came in Franco Zeffirelli's Endless Love, 1981. a fleeting role that hinted at his potential. Later that same year, he secured a more substantial part in Taps, portraying a volatile military cadet whose ferocity stood out even among a cast of promising young actors like Timothy Hutton and Sean Penn. What critics and filmmakers noticed was not just the youthful charisma, but the seriousness with which Cruise approached his work. Unlike many newcomers who treated early roles as stepping stones, Cruise immersed himself fully, demonstrating a commitment that would become his hallmark. This dedication quickly paid off. In 1983, he appeared in The Outsiders, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, sharing the screen with a generation of rising stars including Patrick Swayze, Matt Dillon, and Rob Lowe. While his role was small, it was his next film, Risky Business, that changed everything. Cast as Joel Goodson, a suburban teenager left unsupervised by his parents, Cruise delivered a performance that was at once comedic, confident, and laced with vulnerability. The now iconic scene of him dancing in a button-down shirt and socks to Bob Seger's old-time rock and roll became a cultural phenomenon, transforming him into a household name overnight. More importantly, it signaled that Cruise was not just another good-looking actor, but a performer with star power capable of carrying a film on his shoulders. When Top Gun soared into theaters in 1986, it did more than entertain. It crystallized an entire cultural moment, and at its center was Tom Cruise, cementing his status as one of the defining stars of his generation. Playing the cocky yet vulnerable Navy pilot Pete "Maverick" Mitchell, Cruise radiated an intensity and charm that resonated with audiences far beyond the boundaries of the United States. The film, directed by Tony Scott and backed by the slick production of Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson, became a runaway global sensation, grossing more than $350 million at the worldwide box office, a staggering figure for its time. Beyond its financial success, the movie reshaped Cruise's career trajectory. Suddenly, he was not simply a rising young actor with promise, but a bona fide international superstar, the face of both American bravado and aspirational cool. The film's cultural impact was extraordinary. Aviator sunglasses became fashion staples, leather bomber jackets sold out in stores, and U.S. Navy recruitment booths outside theaters reported surges in applications as young men were inspired to become mavericks of their own. What critics and insiders observed, however, was that Cruise was not content to rest on the laurels of newfound superstardom. He was already planning his next moves with the precision of a strategist. While Top Gun could have locked him into a lifelong role as a pure action figure, Cruise was determined to stretch himself, to explore characters that demanded not only physical energy, but also emotional depth. It was this blend of ambition and discipline that allowed him to transform a single cultural phenomenon into the launchpad for a career spanning genres and generations. To understand the full significance of Top Gun and Cruise's story is to see how one performance created a global archetype, the daring, rule-breaking hero, while simultaneously giving Cruise the freedom to expand beyond it. The triumph of Top Gun could have typecast Cruise as a one-note action star, but he quickly proved that his ambitions stretched far beyond blockbuster spectacle. In 1988, he starred opposite Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man, playing Charlie Babbitt, a self-centered wheeler dealer who reconnects with his autistic savant brother. While Hoffman won the Academy Award, Cruise's performance was essential in grounding the film's emotional core, demonstrating nuance and vulnerability beneath his bravado. The following year, he made an even bolder choice by portraying Vietnam veteran Ron Kovic in Oliver Stone's Born on the 4th of July. The role demanded extraordinary physical and emotional transformation. Cruise depicted Kovic's journey from an idealistic Marine to a disillusioned, wheelchair-bound activist with harrowing authenticity. The performance earned him a Golden Globe and his first Academy Award nomination for Best Actor, firmly establishing him as an actor of substance. Cruise was now a rare hybrid, capable of dominating box offices while commanding critical respect. This dual trajectory would become a defining pattern throughout the 1990s, as he carefully alternated between commercial entertainments and serious dramas, cultivating both mass appeal and credibility with filmmakers who valued artistry, as much as audience draw. The 1990s marked the consolidation of Tom Cruise's dominance in Hollywood, a decade in which he proved not only his staying power, but also his extraordinary versatility as an actor. He began with Days of Thunder, 1990, a racing drama that introduced him to Nicole Kidman, who would become both his co-star and his wife, creating one of the era's most talked-about celebrity couples. While the film itself was met with mixed reviews, it was a box office hit and reinforced Cruise's growing reputation as a reliable leading man. He quickly followed with A Few Good Men, 1992, where he played a determined Navy lawyer seeking justice in a high-profile court-martial case. Acting opposite Jack Nicholson, Cruise held his own in one of cinema's most quoted exchanges, "You can't handle the truth," a scene that has become iconic in American film history. The role demonstrated not only his ability to command the screen against legendary performers, but also his knack for embodying characters that balanced moral conviction with human vulnerability. In 1993, he starred in The Firm, an adaptation of John Grisham's legal thriller, further cementing his place as Hollywood's go-to leading man for intelligent blockbusters. Yet perhaps the most defining moment of the decade came in 1996 with Jerry Maguire. Directed by Cameron Crowe, the film allowed Cruise to explore comedy, drama, and romance all at once, producing lines that entered pop culture lexicon, from "Show me the money" to "You complete me." His heartfelt portrayal of a sports agent undergoing a crisis of conscience earned him his second Oscar nomination and another Golden Globe win. But Cruise refused to coast on commercial success alone. In 1999, he took bold creative risks, starring in Stanley Kubrick's enigmatic Eyes Wide Shut alongside Kidman and delivering a searing, Oscar-nominated performance in Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia as a misogynistic motivational speaker whose bravado masks profound pain. If the 1990s showcased Tom Cruise's range and dramatic credibility, they also revealed his keen instincts as a producer and strategist, none more evident than in the birth of the Mission Impossible franchise. In 1996, Cruise took a bold step by acquiring the rights to the classic 1960s television series and bringing it to the big screen, not merely as its star, but as producer through his newly established company, Cruise/Wagner Productions. Teaming with director Brian De Palma, he reimagined the spy thriller for a modern audience, infusing it with cutting-edge action sequences, intricate espionage plots, and a sleek visual style. The film's iconic scene, Cruise's Ethan Hunt dangling inches above a pressure-sensitive floor, beads of sweat threatening to give him away, became a defining image of 1990s cinema, cementing both the franchise's identity and Cruise's willingness to take physical risks in pursuit of cinematic authenticity. Mission Impossible grossed over $450 million worldwide, establishing Cruise as not only a leading man, but also a savvy producer who could shepherd a blockbuster from conception to cultural phenomenon. The decision to anchor himself to a franchise was strategic. While other stars of his era struggled to maintain relevance in the face of shifting audience tastes, Cruise ensured longevity by crafting a series that could evolve with him. As sequels followed, each escalating the scale of its stunts, Cruise personally committed to performing many of the death-defying feats himself, from scaling the Burj Khalifa in Ghost Protocol to hanging from the side of an airplane in Rogue Nation. What began as a stylish gamble transformed into one of Hollywood's most enduring and profitable franchises, rivaling James Bond in longevity and cultural impact. For Cruise, Mission Impossible was more than a role. It was a proving ground for his philosophy that audiences deserved spectacle rooted in real, physical effort. Even as Tom Cruise's professional life soared, his personal life often drew equal, if not greater, attention from the public and media. His relationships and marriages became headline news, turning him into a figure whose private choices were dissected almost as much as his on-screen performances. His first marriage, to actress Mimi Rogers in 1987, introduced him to Scientology, a connection that would shape his life for decades. After their divorce in 1990, Cruise's romance with Nicole Kidman captured Hollywood's imagination. The couple married later that year and quickly became one of the industry's most glamorous power duos, co-starring in Days of Thunder, Far and Away, and The Enigmatic Eyes Wide Shut. During their marriage, they adopted 2 children, Isabella and Connor, and for a time projected the image of stability amid the chaos of celebrity culture. Their eventual separation in 2001, however, was a media sensation, with speculation about Scientology's role fueling constant tabloid stories. Cruz's next high-profile relationship with Penelope Cruz lasted 3 years, followed by his marriage to Katie Holmes in 2006, an event so lavish and scrutinized that it felt like a global spectacle. Their daughter, Suri, became one of the most photographed children in the world, symbolizing the intense fascination with Cruz's private world. His 2005 appearance on The Oprah Winfrey Show, where he famously jumped on a couch professing his love for Holmes, became a pop culture flashpoint, celebrated by some, ridiculed by others. Around the same time, his heated debate with Matt Lauer on the Today Show regarding psychiatry and antidepressants cast him in a controversial light, aligning with his fervent advocacy for Scientology. These moments intensified the scrutiny around him, briefly overshadowing his artistic achievements. The early 2000s proved to be a testing ground for Tom Cruise, as he navigated both personal controversies and an evolving Hollywood landscape. What could have been a decline instead became a reinvention, with Cruise choosing roles that stretched his image and broadened his range. Collaborating with acclaimed director Steven Spielberg on Minority Report, 2002, Cruise anchored a visionary science fiction thriller based on a Philip K. Dick story, blending cutting-edge technology with moral dilemmas about free will and determinism. The film's critical and commercial success reaffirmed Cruise's ability to headline thought-provoking blockbusters. In 2004, he shocked audiences by playing against type in Michael Mann's Collateral, portraying Vincent, a ruthless hitman who takes a cab driver hostage during a night of assassinations. With silver hair, icy demeanor, and a chilling intensity, Cruise delivered one of his most daring performances, earning widespread critical acclaim and proving that he could convincingly embody menace as well as heroism. The following year, he reunited with Spielberg for War of the Worlds, 2005, which became a global box office smash despite mixed critical reception. Yet even as these films succeeded, his off-screen controversies, particularly his outspoken defense of Scientology and criticism of psychiatry, threatened to tarnish his reputation. Still, his commitment to redefining himself on screen never wavered. Mission: Impossible 3, 2006, directed by J.J. Abrams, re-energized the franchise with a blend of emotional stakes and high-octane action, reminding audiences that Cruise remained one of cinema's most reliable stars. In 2008, he surprised once more with a comedic turn in Tropic Thunder, playing the foul-mouthed studio executive Les Grossman, a role so outrageous and self-parodying that it won him newfound appreciation. By embracing humor and satire, Cruise demonstrated a self-awareness that humanized him in the public eye. By the time the 2010s arrived, Tom Cruise had fully embraced his identity as a guardian of the modern blockbuster, determined to show that theatrical spectacle still had the power to unite global audiences. The decade began with Mission: Impossible Ghost Protocol, 2011, directed by Brad Bird, a film that redefined the possibilities of practical stunts. The now legendary sequence of Cruise scaling the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, without a stunt double, instantly became one of the most breathtaking moments in cinema. Audiences marveled not just at the action, but at the authenticity of knowing it was really Cruise performing the feat. The franchise, once seen as a reliable success, now became a cultural event with each new installment. Rogue Nation, 2015, and Fallout, 2018, pushed the envelope further, featuring sequences such as Cruise hanging from the side of an airplane as it took off and performing a halo jump from 25,000 feet. Critics who once dismissed the franchise as formulaic now hailed it as one of the most consistently thrilling series in cinema, with Cruise's dedication elevating the action genre itself. Beyond Mission Impossible, he ventured further into science fiction with Oblivion, 2013, a visually striking exploration of identity and survival, and Edge of Tomorrow, 2014, a critically acclaimed, inventive action film often described as Groundhog Day meets Alien Invasion. The latter, while modest in its initial box office, grew into a beloved classic, with fans clamoring for a sequel. Through these choices, Cruise positioned himself as the rare actor who could still deliver massive, theater-filling experiences in an era increasingly dominated by superhero franchises and streaming platforms. In 2022, Tom Cruise delivered what many consider the crowning achievement of his career with Top Gun: Maverick, a sequel 3 decades in the making that not only lived up to the legacy of the original, but also redefined what a modern blockbuster could be. Skeptics questioned whether a continuation of the 1986 classic could resonate with contemporary audiences, but Cruise's relentless pursuit of authenticity silenced all doubts. Determined to avoid over-reliance on CGI, he insisted that actors undergo rigorous aviation training and that aerial sequences be filmed in real fighter jets, capturing the visceral thrill of flight with breathtaking realism. The result was a film that stunned critics and audiences alike, praised not only for its spectacle, but for its emotional depth. Cruise's portrayal of an older, wiser Maverick balanced nostalgia with poignant reflection, showing a man still fearless in the cockpit, yet humbled by time, loss, and legacy. Beyond its artistic merits, the film became a cultural phenomenon, grossing over $1.4 billion worldwide and helping to revive the global theatrical industry following the COVID-19 pandemic. Its release reminded audiences of the communal magic of cinema, watching stories unfold on the largest screen possible, surrounded by fellow moviegoers. At the Cannes Film Festival, Cruise was honored with an honorary Palme d'Or, symbolizing recognition not only of Maverick, but of his 4 decades of contributions to cinema. For a generation that had grown up with him, the film was a nostalgic return. For younger audiences, it was a revelation of what movie stardom could be. With Top Gun: Maverick, Cruise did more than revisit a role. He reaffirmed his unique status as a cultural bridge between past and present, reminding the world that true movie stars still exist and that their power lies in delivering authenticity, heart, and sheer cinematic exhilaration. Despite his enormous cultural presence and box office success, Tom Cruise's relationship with awards has long been a paradox. Over the years, he has earned 3 Academy Award nominations for Born on the 4th of July, Jerry Maguire, and Magnolia, each performance demonstrating his depth and versatility. He also won 3 Golden Globe Awards for those same roles, affirming his place among the finest actors of his generation. Yet a competitive Oscar statuette has remained elusive, a fact often cited as one of Hollywood's greatest oversights. However, industry recognition for Cruise extends far beyond awards ceremonies. Colleagues and directors consistently praise his tireless work ethic, his insistence on meticulous preparation, and his ability to elevate every production he touches. He is known for learning technical skills for roles, whether flying helicopters, performing zero-gravity sequences, or training alongside elite military units, ensuring that authenticity shines through his performances. In 2025, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences announced that Cruise would receive an honorary Oscar at the Governor's Awards, citing his extraordinary contributions to cinema, his defense of theatrical exhibition, and his lasting impact on the global film industry. This honor represents not only recognition of his artistry, but also an acknowledgement of his role as one of the last great traditional movie stars. While some actors are remembered for awards and others for box office, Cruise is remembered for achieving both, delivering critical performances that challenge conventions while simultaneously carrying billion-dollar franchises. For many, the honorary Oscar was less a consolation prize and more a celebration of an unparalleled career defined by courage, reinvention, and devotion to the craft of movie making. No account of Tom Cruise's life would be complete without addressing his association with Scientology, a relationship that has defined much of his public image as both a source of inspiration to followers and a lightning rod for criticism. Introduced to the Church of Scientology in the late 1980s by his first wife, Mimi Rogers, Cruise has since become its most visible and outspoken advocate. He credits Scientology with helping him overcome dyslexia, claiming that its study techniques allowed him to achieve the confidence and focus needed for his career. Over time, however, his commitment to the church placed him at the center of public controversy. His criticism of psychiatry, most famously in a 2005 Today Show interview where he sparred with Matt Lauer, and his disparagement of actress Brooke Shields for using antidepressants, generated backlash and headlines worldwide. To critics, these incidents reinforced the perception that Cruise's beliefs sometimes overshadowed his professional achievements. Yet within the church, he was revered, reportedly enjoying a position of great influence and respect. Public opinion has often been divided. Some view his devotion as sincere personal conviction, while others see it as evidence of manipulation. Regardless of interpretation, his affiliation with Scientology is a reminder of the complexity of celebrity in the modern era, where personal beliefs are magnified on a global stage. Despite these controversies, Cruise's career has proven remarkably resilient. Audiences have consistently returned to his films, often choosing to separate the performer from the individual. If anything, the debates surrounding Scientology have underscored his unique position as a figure who provokes both admiration and skepticism, embodying the paradox of stardom in the 21st century. One of the defining features of Tom Cruise's cinematic identity is his extraordinary, almost obsessive, commitment to performing his own stunts, a practice that has elevated him above nearly all his contemporaries. While most leading men rely heavily on stunt doubles to ensure safety and consistency, Cruise has made authenticity his personal mission, often training for months, sometimes years, to master skills required for specific sequences. Early hints of this dedication appeared in Mission Impossible 1996, where he executed the nerve-wracking wire drop scene himself, but as the franchise evolved, so did the scale of his physical feats. In Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol 2011, he climbed the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa, dangling hundreds of stories above the ground with only safety harnesses between him and disaster. In Rogue Nation 2015, he clung to the side of an Airbus A400M as it took off, enduring wind speeds that would terrify professional stunt performers. In Fallout 2018, he performed a dangerous halo jump from over 25,000 feet, requiring intensive military-style training. For Top Gun Maverick, he learned to pilot advanced fighter jets, enduring brutal G-forces to deliver aerial authenticity no special effect could replicate. These are not acts of recklessness, but carefully calculated demonstrations of trust in preparation, training, and collaboration with safety teams. The result is a visceral thrill that audiences can feel, the subtle awareness that what they are watching is real, that their star truly risked life and limb to entertain them. This relentless pursuit of authenticity has redefined expectations for action cinema, inspiring a generation of filmmakers and actors while reminding audiences that genuine spectacle still holds unmatched power. In a digital age where CGI often dominates, Cruise's dedication stands as a testament to the enduring magic of cinema when sweat, gravity, and risk converge on screen. Over more than 4 decades, Tom Cruise has built a legacy that transcends traditional notions of stardom, making him not merely a successful actor, but a cultural phenomenon. His career is remarkable not only for its longevity, but for its adaptability, bridging the gap between the excesses of 1980s blockbusters and the streaming-dominated 21st century. Generations of moviegoers have grown up with his work. The young dreamers of the 1980s who idolized Maverick's daring in Top Gun, the thoughtful film enthusiasts of the 1990s who marveled at his nuanced performances in Jerry Maguire and Magnolia, and today's global audiences who flock to theaters for the thrill of his gravity-defying stunts and Mission Impossible, and Top Gun: Maverick. Cruise has not only entertained, but also influenced Hollywood's business model, demonstrating the value of creative control through his production ventures and proving the viability of franchises built around a single star. He has also embodied the idea of the last true movie star, a figure whose presence alone can drive box office success across the globe, independent of superheroes or cinematic universes. His impact extends beyond box office numbers, shaping audience expectations of what action cinema should deliver and reaffirming the importance of practical effects, discipline, and authenticity. Despite controversies surrounding his personal life and religious affiliations, his artistry and relentless professionalism continue to dominate the narrative of his career. Tom Cruise is not just a participant in Hollywood history. He is one of its architects, a figure whose films will continue to inspire, thrill, and define the possibilities of cinematic storytelling for decades to come. Tom Cruise's life and career form a narrative as compelling as any script he has brought to the screen, a story of resilience, reinvention, and relentless pursuit of excellence. From his humble beginnings as a dyslexic boy navigating constant upheaval to his rise as one of the world's most bankable and daring stars, Cruise embodies the archetype of the self-made legend. His career is a testament to the power of discipline and vision. He has balanced box office dominance with critical acclaim, embraced both mainstream entertainment and artistic risk, and continually pushed the boundaries of what audiences expect from cinema. His personal journey, marked by high-profile relationships, devotion to Scientology, and moments of controversy, has only deepened public fascination, creating a complex figure who is at once admired, scrutinized, and enduringly relevant. On screen, he has given us unforgettable characters, from Maverick's fearless confidence to Jerry Maguire's vulnerable sincerity, from Ethan Hunt's daring heroics to Frank T.J. Mackey's raw, emotional unraveling. Off-screen, he has redefined the very notion of a movie star, standing firm as one of the last performers whose name alone can guarantee a global audience. As he enters the later chapters of his career, recognition such as the honorary Oscar confirms what audiences have long known: that Tom Cruise is not simply an actor, but a cinematic force, a figure who has helped sustain the magic of movies themselves. His story is still unfolding, but its legacy is already secure. To watch Tom Cruise is to witness the rare blend of determination, artistry, and spectacle that makes cinema unforgettable. And as long as he continues to chase the impossible, audiences will continue to follow him into theaters, eager to believe in the extraordinary.